concrete walls. There's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
Do you wanna follow? You were pretty. You're lucky you didn't hear all that. Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't in the recording either. Not the local recording either. Oh, French. Bonjour, je suis Joshua Bardwell et tu vas apprendre. That's how French always ends up with me. I was off to a good start and then just downhill. Good evening. I don't speak French. I was just reading Prince's comment there. Welcome to the live stream, you guys. Oh my God, can you see? You can tell it's summer. Look, it's still vaguely light outside. Wow. Oh, we can't have that. We can't have that. Yeah, no, I knew what it was, Prince. I mean, I gathered. I gathered what it probably meant. Wow, look at this, look at this, look at this, seriously. Look at that. It's frickin', the sun is still in the sky. Isn't that delightful? Now, look, time and space have no meaning. Time and space have no meaning. There is only the stream. There is only the stream. There is only the internet. There is only the screen. In your eyes and your brain, interfacing and engaging with me. Yes. Feed me your attention. And your money. What are we here for? Oh, welcome to the live stream. It is 8 p.m. in America. Cool cat. So that should give you some idea of where we're at. 8 p.m. in America. But it's summer. It's summer. I had a odd experience this morning. We'll start the live stream off with a little bit of an anecdote. I went to Waffle House. Once a week I do breakfast with my son. I take my son out for breakfast somewhere. His choice. He decided he wanted to experience the joy of Waffle House. If you don't live in the southeastern American, you don't know the joy of Waffle House. It's a special joy. One of the things about Waffle House is that they have bar top seating in addition to like booths. Excuse me. And so he likes to sit at the bar because, you know, it's a novelty for him. So we sit at the bar. There's a guy next to me. And he's talking about he has to go pick up his white Jeep. His white Jeep. You know, like a Jeep, the vehicle. Jeep. And something about, I just misheard. And I heard him say he was going to pick up his white jeans. And he's going on and on. He's talking to the cook. He's talking to the cook about his white jeans he's going to pick up. And I'm like, I have never met somebody, I'm thinking to myself, I've never met somebody who is so excited about a pair of pants as this guy. And then finally I figure out he's saying white jeans. And it's sort of like, if you're sitting at the bar tops at a Waffle House, it's not rude to kind of chat with the people. That's the bar. You want privacy, you go sit at the booth, right? You might get some privacy. At the bar top, I kind of leaned over. I was like, you know, I thought this time I thought you were talking about white jeans, not white Jeep. What a bonehead I am. And he said, I might take offense to that. I don't remember his exact words. He was annoyed. And he said, I'm not one of those. What's the word he leans over to his friend. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not one of those Democrats. And he looks at me. And I realized that he thought that when I said, I thought you were talking about white jeans, I think, and I don't mean to, I think he thought I was accusing him of being gay. That's my best read. The whole situation has confused the hell out of me to this day, to this moment. It was just this morning. And then, so in his mind, so my mind was like, haha, isn't it funny? I misheard what you were talking about. Stranger at the bar. Let's bond over what a dumb thing I thought to hear you saying white jeans instead of white Jeep. Haha, lol. And he heard me say, hey, you homosexual with white pants on? But he didn't want to go there, so instead he said Democrat. And then it was real awkward. because now we're sitting next to each other and we both have to eat breakfast and he wants to talk to me. And I'm like, oh, no offense intended. No offense. Let's not, no, I didn't mean anything by it. And he wants to make friends now and talk about crime and urban sprawl and the relationship of race to those things. So, the moral of the story is, don't talk to the guy sitting next to you. Don't talk to the guy sitting next to you at the Waffle House. In fact, don't go to Waffle House. Don't go to Waffle House, I think is the moral of this story. Yeah, he said, I don't have white pants. In fact, I identify as South African. There's a lot going on underneath. There was a lot of subtext to this conversation, and I didn't really get most of it. Anyway. White jeans. Oh, white jeans. G-E-N-E-S. Jeans, not like the pants. Not like the pants. He thought I said jeans, like G-E-N-E-S. Oh, thank you, chat. Thank you, chat. That, at least that makes a little bit of sense. At least that makes a little bit of sense. He wasn't, by the way, he wasn't South African, Patrick Ruane. He was from Tennessee or wherever. He was making a joke about, well, anyway. Okay. And so, you know, I nodded and I chuckled along and I smiled, and he told me his thoughts about things, and I had a nice breakfast with my son. And, you know, and that was that. And that's what happened. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. I always like to start it off with a little bit of an anecdote, maybe, or a joke, or a story. But what we're really here for is to answer your questions. And now that we're here, One Eye FPV, I don't think he was offended by that implication. Maybe he was. Maybe he thought I was the racist asshole because he was talking about his white jeans. Wow. I didn't even. Wow. That is such an interesting read on the story. I thought he was talking about pants. Well, anyway. Jeans, G-E-N-E-S. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to answer questions about FPV. That's what we're actually here for. We're going to get right on with that. I appreciate you guys letting me process that story with you. I appreciate that. That was very valuable for me. I'm going to be taking your questions here in the chat. I'm going to be taking the questions from these beautiful people here in the Discord server. Yay! Welcome to my Discord server, you beautiful people. I don't know why my son was so excited about Waffle House. There's nothing like wrong with Waffle House, but I'm not like, oh, I got to get to Waffle House. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm like, it's 3 a.m. What's left to eat at? And I go to Waffle House. Anyway, I'll be taking your questions. And Jake Rob Williams, peanut butter is not a condiment. Why would peanut butter is an ingredient? What do you dip things in peanut butter? Not usually. If you want me to read your comment on stream, hit the $ right down here. Leave a super chat right down there in the lower corner, right there. Hit that $. Leave a super chat like Harbles FPV. Thank you, Harbles FPV, for 420 super chat. No better number for Waffle House. Scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, diced, and capped. Which one of those is jalapenos? That's how I get my hash browns at the Waffle House. Scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, diced, and capped in jalapeno. Whichever that one is. I gotta tell my wife real quick about the white jeans, because I'm gonna forget. I told her that story and it was all very confusing. Okay, let's focus. Let's focus. We got to get a question. Corey Rollins. Let's take your question. Corey Rollins says, we were emailing back and forth last week. You diagnosed my main problem to be my 5-volt regulator, most likely bad. How does that happen? I mean, shit just happens. Stuff breaks. That's how it happens. You probably didn't do anything wrong. Your stuff broke because stuff breaks. We take these quadcopters, we fly them, we smash them into the ground repeatedly, and eventually they break. That's all I have to say. That's all I can say, really. Like Corey, I don't remember the exact details of your story. No, unfortunately, I apologize for that. But chances are you didn't do anything to fry it. Now, if you take like VBAT wire and you connect a VBAT wire to the 5-volt pad on your flight controller, then you're going to fry something, right? But I'm going to guess it just died on you like after a crash or randomly. So, yeah. There's no rhyme or reason to exactly how it happens, except that quadcopters crash. What did he mean then when he said, I'm not a... Because he said, I'm not a Democrat. Which if he was like, if he thought I was trying to like bring up something sensitive, maybe he thought, oh. Well, anyway. So confusing. So confusing. Siadi, save me. Save me, Siadi. I can't get out of this topic. I can't get off this topic. And I'm the one who says no politics on the live streams. And I mean it. Carrie Miller wants to know, will iNav introduce sliders or presets in future updates? iNav has presets. They already have presets. They had presets before Betaflight did. As for sliders, I don't know. Thank God, here's a super chat. This is a super chat to help me get off the thinking about the man at the if he's watching right now, by the way. So awkward. I mean, I was an idiot. Don't get me wrong. I really don't know why I spoke up. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I just thought it was... I'm always willing to make a joke at my own expense. You know? So if I notice that I did something dumb and I think you'd think it was funny, I'll be like, you know what I did? You'll never believe it. You know? Unless I'm like truly embarrassed, but you know. So I was just trying to make friends. Anyway. FPV Playground. First build, Kiss FC. Will stick and keep going one direction for a split second and doesn't respond to the sticks. Then it all comes back. Any ideas? FPV Playground. The first thing I would want to know is whether it's fail-safing. Okay? I would think that it was... One thing it could cause this is a very short fail-safe that then comes back. I'm not 100% sure how you're going to troubleshoot that. Do you have an on-screen display? Like, and if you do, does the KISS, can anyone tell me? Because I don't have a ton of experience with KISS. Does the KISS on-screen display show, like, RX loss or something else that'll tell you when a failsafe is happening? If you've got the KISS Ultra or the KISS G4, they can both do an on-screen, like, stick overlay, and you could see if the sticks lock out. So I would want to know whether you were fail-safing. That's how it would start. And if you are fail-safing, then you got to you troubleshoot that like a fail-safe. Willpower FPV says, I had this problem. It's switching back and forth between Crossfire V2 and Crossfire V3. Update the firmware. Willpower, I assume you mean update the Crossfire firmware. FPV Playground, do you have... Oh, it's a KISS V2, no OSD. FPV Playground, is this Crossfire? Can you confirm that this is Crossfire? Hey, chat. Chat. I know I started it. So no hard feelings. But seriously, let's not talk politics. I know I brought it. I said the D word first. Okay, I apologize. That's on me. But let's just move on. Okay? We don't need to talk about politics, even though I technically started it. So let's just focus on it. Let's all focus on FPV. Close your eyes. Picture a quadcopter. A quadcopter is neither black nor white, neither left nor right. It's not a Republican. It's not a Democrat. It's just a machine. It flies. It flies through the sky. We all agree. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Focus. He says he's using Tracer, and he's on the latest firmware. Crossfire 617. If you're... Yeah. So I would want to know if this was a failsafe. Especially if it's Tracer, you may not have the kind of range that you expect from something else. Especially if you're not at max power. Okay. But that's my guess, is that you're experiencing micro failsafes, and it's not a flight controller issue, it's a receiver issue. Moe FPV, thanks for 50 Mexican pesos. Appreciate that. Let's see. Is there a way to identify what causes jello on the naked GoPro? My Quad's FPV camera doesn't wobble. The GoPro videos are horrible. Thank you for the help. Moe FPV, what camera are you using? I mean, what quadcopter are you carrying on the naked GoPro? I'm going to guess it's like a little 95 millimeter or something. I mean, they all have issues with GoPro, with jello. Moe FPV, I'll bet you if you tell us what quad you've got carrying the GoPro, people in the chat like Ciati will have an opinion on why you have jello. One IFPV thinks it's related to the mount. That's plausible. What's an okay voltage output from a 5-volt regulator? I'd say like 4.9 to 5.1 volts. It's Blunty wants to know, which is better, pancakes or waffles? I'm thinking. I've had some mighty good pancakes. I think if I had to pick, I'd say waffles. I'd say waffles. Ciati, are you also getting the 1-second lockouts? Waffles, I think, are better than pancakes because pancakes ultimately are just, they're cake. They're like cakey. Waffles are like almost fried food. I'm going waffles. And waffles have like divots to hold all the goodness. Yeah, waffles. Moy FPV uses a Freibot 2.5 and a Naked Hero 9. The Freibot 2.5, is that good? Is that good? The QAV scene. Ooh, I have a feeling I know what Ciati would say about this. Wonder what motors you're using. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just a matter of testing different things to figure out where the jello is coming from. Is it a bad motor? Is it a messed up prop? Is it a problem with your frame? Is it your mount? You know? I think you just have to work through it. Ciati says that's my next build. Ciati, do you love this? I guessed that Ciati would dislike this because I would guess that he wouldn't like this style of frame. I may have got it backwards. It's just a matter. I mean, you just have to try different things. Zing 1404 motors. 1404? Interesting. 1404, does that seem like a good motor for this? My feeling is 1404 feels awfully small. Like a good Cinewoop motor is like 2004 or 1507. Well, it's a 2.5. Maybe 1404 on a 2.5. He's carrying a naked cam, Siati. How do you identify where the jello is coming from, though? That's the thing. Waffle and pancakes are not the same. That's not, we're not going there. Hinter Z says, I'm kind of confused. How do I know my RC link speed? I want to test a preset in Betaflight 4.3, but I don't know which one to pick. I'm using an XM Plus. Hinter, if you're using an XM Plus, I think you just use the defaults. The XM Plus is not particularly fast, but the defaults, I believe, are tuned for those slow protocols like the XM Plus. So you don't use a preset at all if you're using the XM Plus. Siati says it's usually the GoPro mount. Corey Rollins says, I had video going in and out. I landed it and the quad shut off completely. Now every time I plug the battery in, I get tones, but no lights on the flight controller. Yeah, so the flight controller died. You got to figure out if it is the... Did it, like, lose power? Did the wire harness break or come unplugged? So check the wiring between the ESC and the flight controller. If that wiring is intact, then it sounds like the flight controller died. And replace the flight controller. Just test with a voltmeter to see if the flight controller has power. If it does not, then figure out why it doesn't have power. If it does have power, but it still doesn't turn on, it's dead. Evan Wynn, thank you for a $2 super chat. What battery do you recommend for 6S 1100 to 1300 milliamp hours? I mean, there's lots of good batteries out there. So first of all, I'll give you my short list. What I always end up going back to, just because they're inexpensive and they perform well, and when I kill them, I don't mind too much. I usually buy the Race Day Quads 1050, no, not the 90C. The 1000. They have a 1000, like 100C. What, 1050, 1250, 100C, yeah. This is the one I always buy, is the 1000 milliamp hour 100C. These are GNB. GNB makes very good batteries. And they're good. You know, they're not too expensive. They perform reasonably well. And they don't hurt too much when you kill them, although they do hurt. They definitely hurt. Other good ones. Obviously, CNHL Black Series is very good, especially if you catch them on sale. CNHL Black, excellent. They are available from the USA, but the CNHL website sometimes has big sales, and you'll get like 1000 milliamp hour 6S for like $16. Speedy Pizza. Speedy Pizza is I'm gonna need to be more specific. Speedy Pizza it's not a 1000, it's a 1200, so that's within the range. This is a good pack, and it has a rubberized outer coating that gives it a little more durability. And at a price of 20, wow. Wow. Oh, I should buy that. Wow. I would buy, yeah. I don't know what chemistry this is. So, what CNHL chemistry is this? Does anybody know? That's a really good price. That's a really good price. 1200 milliamp hour for $22 is a great price. It's a chonker. Yeah, Siati points out 210 grams. It's a chonker in part because they have this rubberized heat shrink, which is adds a little more durability. I don't know how they perform though. I don't know if they're a good performing battery. Ciati points out the 6S 1050R lines are 170 grams exactly. R-Line 1050. Yeah, it's $32 though. So you're definitely paying for that performance. Bachgrinder apparently says the speedy pizzas suck. So those are not the only like good batteries in the world, but I feel like GNB is a pretty safe bet. I feel like, so here we've got some GNB batteries here. Those are a pretty safe bet. CNHL Black, pretty safe bet. There's various other companies, like, who makes this Pyro battery? Pyrodrone doesn't make it. They relabel it. Who is it? I don't know. John Goblin points out that only the V1 R line is 170 grams. The V4 is over 180 grams. Wow, that's a pretty big difference. $33 a pack. I mean, that just depends on how much you want to save that weight. Anyway, those are some good batteries. Some good batteries. How about Ovonic? Ovonic is tattoo, right? Are they? Well, Dizzy RC says the Speedy Pizza is not as good as the CNHL Black, but they beat the socks off of AU Line. I don't think AU Line are particularly good. So, the difference between 181 grams for a Tattoo R Line and 210 grams for a Speedy Pizza, though, is a pretty big difference. Bee's Knees points out that the Race Day Quads 3S, 300 milliamp hour and 350 milliamp hour both weigh 27 grams. Any reason to run the 300 over the 350? Bee's Knees, like, something's different about those cells, but at the end of the day, the weight, you can't get something for nothing. So are they a different chemistry that gives you more milliamp? Are they like a superior, not like a different chemistry, like they're not lipo, they're all lipos, but are they superior in design such that they give you 50 more milliamp hours? Or is there something else about it that's making up or losing the weight? The reason you would run the 300 is that, so a heavier pack with the same milliamp hours should give you something else in specs to make up the difference. So it should have a higher C rating, maybe, or be less expensive. It sounds like they're basically the same pack, but like with a different shape. And I would want to evaluate them. But at the end of the day, if you show me two packs and they both are the same weight, then, and so you got to look at it and say, you know, do they have the same, packaging? Is one of them got a bunch of heat shrink or something that's making up the weight? Okay. If you have two packs that are the same weight and the same construction, then how could one of them be 50 milliamp hours more than the other? It could. One could be a more expensive chemistry that packs more milliamp hours in or is lighter. I'm not suggesting that all batteries must have the same energy density, milliamp hours per gram. But I'm saying that when batteries have a different energy density, you need to start looking at why that is. And if you have a battery that is higher milliamp hours, same weight, and less expensive, something doesn't add up. Hmm. Tom Weich wants to know, what's up with RadioMaster not shipping Mark IIs to the USA? What do you mean not shipping Mark IIs to the USA? Tom Weich, tell me more. Are they not shipping Mark IIs to the USA? Like they're not shipping them at all? They're not shipping pre-orders? What's the deal? I haven't heard of this. Koza FPV, thank you for a $10 super chat. My new build wobbles back and forth very quickly, vibration in a direction that follows a flip. What can it be? If you have oscillation after a flip, could your P gain be too high? I mean, it would be helpful to see video. Unfortunately, I mean, that may not happen. But yeah, it sounds like you're describing oscillation after a rapid stick movement, which could be P gain too high or D gain not high enough. But that's not the only thing it could be. Koza is sure it's a hardware issue. What makes you sure it's a hardware issue, Koza? I mean, I don't disbelieve. I kind of believe you, but yeah, we don't have a lot of information about your build, Koza. Let's see here. Carrie Miller wants to know, when are there going to be more 8S Lipos for 6 and 7-inch now that we have 8S ESCs and flight controllers? I don't know about that. The market for 8S is pretty small. And basically everybody running 8S is just running 2.4S in series. I'm not sure how much market there's going to be for 8S Lipos. 8S chargers are pretty limited. ESCs and flight controllers are frankly pretty limited. So I wouldn't hold my breath for more 8S Lipos. Koza says, even just cruising, I wobble. All right, so you got a bigger issue then. It's not, I agree, it's not PIDs. I would wonder if the flight controller is loose or if something is touching the flight controller. That's certainly a thing it could be. I'm still trying to figure out what Tom Weich means by RadioMaster is not shipping Mark IIs to the USA. I haven't seen a response, though. What's the best way to clean a quad that crashed in the mud? Yikes. I mean, I would try to get as much mud off it dry as possible. You might use a dry toothbrush or some other kind of soft bristled scrubbing situation. For getting the motors clean, I would just turn the motors to try and grind the dirt out. Ciati points out rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol would work. We wouldn't want to get rubbing alcohol in the bearings because it would it would dissolve the bearing grease if possible. You could just use distilled water. Just make sure it's good and dry before you power it up. But, yeah. Okay. Nick Sebring. Good to see you here, Nick. Thank you for being here on the stream. I recently installed the Rush Tank Solo. I went into the smart audio settings via OSD, set the power to max, save and exit, then the VTX froze up. Ideas. VTX table error. I mean, that's possible. The Rush Tank Solo, Nick, I believe, uses Smart Audio 2.1. So, I mean, what's your VTX table? I think for Smart Audio 2.1, max is like 36 is the value. Excuse me. Nick, without knowing your VTX, though, it's hard to say whether you had an error. But it's a Smart Audio 2.1 VTX. And it should be pretty solid. 661 FPV asking the hard questions of Koza. Koza's with the build that wobbles. He asks, did it ever fly good? Koza said my new build wobbles back and forth, so I'm going to guess this is a brand new build that never flew right. Nick, John Goblin in the Discord points out that the Rush Tank Solo has a weird issue where it goes into pit mode permanently until you switch from free to race and back to free again in the camera menu. Mystery Hensaw wants to know, is it possible to check to see if a DJI Air Unit works without the goggles? Mystery Hensaw, if you see a green light on the Air Unit, pretty much it's working. Once that light goes green, it's pretty much working. There isn't a lot. They generally either work or they don't. And usually they work. They're pretty reliable. Daniel Harmon wants to know, favorite Lipo straps, regular or Kevlar, 20mm, 16mm, plastic or metal buckles? A deep question. So the Kevlar battery straps are incredibly durable, but also very thick. And on a lot of builds, I find, especially like slam deck builds, I find that they don't fit well between the video transmitter and the top plate, or the flight controller and the top plate. So I usually end up using, excuse me, I usually end up using the thin ones, but I like to use rubberized ones so it holds the strap of the battery a little better. As for the buckles, I like the metal buckles. The plastic buckles just break. Daniel Giuliano, thank you for a $5 super chat. You did a video on a gyro update that messed up an AIO Beta FPV 1S board. Daniel, there was an issue in Betaflight 4.3 RC6 where if you had a certain gyro on your flight controller, like I think it was the 2689, but I'm not sure. It's on that video we posted about. If you have a certain gyro, there was a chance that Betaflight would basically destroy your gyro and it wouldn't work anymore. There is no fix for that I'm aware of. Flashing, if you were subject to that problem and your gyro got wrecked, there isn't a fix that I know of. In theory, it could be fixed by software, but I don't think there is an established procedure to fix it once it gets messed up. Lucas Andrew wants to know, is upgrading an analog camera just as simple as unplugging the old one, plugging in the new one? Yes, almost always. Most cameras today can be powered from 2S to 6S, and many of them are 5 volts up to 6S. So the main thing that you want to look for is the voltage input that the camera supports. Assuming the camera supports the voltage that the flight controller is providing, then yeah, they almost all have the same plug and they just plug right in. Tom Weick, thank you for another $5 super chat. My TX16S Mark II with AGO1s I pre-ordered mid-April hasn't shipped. They told me it was shipped 2 different dates and it hasn't. EU seem to be getting them. So, Tom, what you're saying is that you haven't gotten your order, and you think that you should have gotten your order, but I don't know if generally they're not shipping to the USA. I mean, I don't know about that. As far as why you haven't gotten your order, I also don't know, of course. It is frustrating when you're waiting for something to ship and it hasn't shipped. Whit Mead, the Bardwell F7 uses the Bosch BMI gyro. It is not affected by that bug. Bushy asks, would you recommend building a quad or buying a bind and fly, especially if someone is comfortable with soldering? Well, it's very interesting you ask that, Bushy, because I made a video today, and it hasn't released, but I'm going to tease it here. Hang on. Should you build a quad or buy one? Here we go. Oh.
This is an FPV drone, and this is what it could do. Unfortunately, it also does this. The best way for you to learn how to fix your FPV drone is for you to build it in the first place. That way you know how it all goes together and you know how to put it back together when you smash it. And that's why I am so excited to have partnered with Lumineer on the new 2022 edition of my JB Budget Build Kit. We picked all the parts, we put them in a box, we send them to your doorstep, and I made a couple of tutorial videos that take you through every step of the build and configuration all the way through to your very first flight. Available now on getfpv.com.
Except it's not available now because it hasn't come out yet, and now GetFPV is mad at me for spoiling it. So don't tell anybody you saw that. Don't tell anybody you saw that. Don't ruin the surprise. So the takeaway with Mead is you will absolutely have to learn how to fix your quad because you are going to crash and break it. And the best way to learn how to fix it is to build it yourself. But the problem is that picking the parts and then going through the process of building it is incredibly, incredibly cumbersome. So what you need is a really, really good build tutorial. A really good build tutorial from somebody like me. Like, you know, like a really good build tutorial.
This is the JB Xylo Budget Build Kit.
Don't tell anybody about this. It hasn't released. It's going to release. I think it's releasing tomorrow. There's only 300 people watching the stream right now. You keep it to yourself. If I find out that any of you leaked this. So we got a full build taking you through every step. With the classic Bardwell. Haha, classic Bardwell mistakes. And configuration guide with Betaflight. I did one of these back in like 2020, so if you're familiar with that, this is a similar deal. Here we got this.
We're working together to build your
Yada yada yada. It'll have Express LRS. We're doing Express LRS this time, so no free sky. Anyway, analog and digital, yes. Johnny DRC, you can't have just ordered it. It's not for sale yet. It's not for sale yet. Anyway. So, yeah. But here's the so then why would you buy a bind and fly? Why would you buy a bind and fly? Here's why you buy a bind and fly. Bind and flies these days are in some cases cheaper than buying the parts and building it yourself. And bind and flies are very good. Many of them are very good. So when you get to the point where you know how to repair and build your own stuff and you just want to buy something to fly, then just buy a bind and fly. I got to tell you, there are times when I'm tempted, when I'm like, oh, I got to go on a Rotor Riot shoot, or I gotta go, I'm going to go to Rampage, and oh crap, all my quads are broken. The 2 weeks before Rampage, I looked around my room, and all of my stuff was broken or in various states of disrepair, and I thought I could fix it all, or I could just buy a bind and fly, or 2 or 3 bind and flies, and I didn't, because it would have been like $1,500, and I just could not. I was like, that's silly, don't do that. But I was mighty tempted. The other nice thing about a bind and fly is that usually bind and flies these days come with a pretty decent factory PID tune. They fly pretty decent. It's not sold out. It's not for sale yet. People are joking. You guys, are you looking for the... No. Hang on. You guys. Stop. Hang on. You guys are going to the Get FPV. People are getting mad. Please take it easy. This is not it. This is the old one. It's out of stock because we stopped making it because we're making the new one. There are people who are annoyed that it's out of stock. This is not it. This is the old one. We're not making this one anymore. Okay. All right. It's similar to this, but not the same. Aber the Ham might have just been pulling my leg. Possible. You want to see a test flight? This is... I'm not going to say which quad this was. It was a quad. Let's see. I don't even know if this was a good flight. Oh, see? Yeah. Already messing things up. Oh, hang on. This is the flight where the camera got knocked. Hang on. The camera's looking way too close to the ground.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay. This is the flight I meant to show you. The people who listen to this on podcasts are so lucky. They're just going to hear 2 minutes of motors. I thought this was an okay flight. I was kind of happy. I was vaguely happy with this flight. I'm not saying what quad this is. I'm not saying that this is the quad that's coming out tomorrow. I've gotten stuck in the trees before. Here's where I try to do a little orbit around the tree. Try to be as smooth as can possibly be. Oh, I messed that up. I'll try it again later. I was trying to invert. I was trying to invert into this gap, right? See that gap right there? I was trying to invert into that gap, but I messed it up. I did it later. There it is. Got it. And here's the part where I almost hit myself in the head. I probably shouldn't show this part. I'm going to skip this part. I don't want the FAA to get mad at me. Good. Uh-huh. Yeah. Is this the... Right here, look. And then this happened. So the GoPro was knocked down for this one. It was a decent flight. I'm sorry I missed it. I was pretty happy with this flight. But then I did this. Then I did this. Here, look. We found it. Ooh, we broke a prop. What do you think? 6-1 FPV. There's no props in the shot. I told you the GoPro is knocked down. Their GoPro is like tilted at 10 degrees or something.
It broke its engine.
Yeah, it broke its engine. Yeah. It's okay. It'll be okay. I'm sure it'll be okay.
We try it then.
Yeah, let's try again.
Yeah, there you go. Let's try again. Anyway. Oh, that's something. That's something that's going on. Yeah, it's a good attitude. That kid's got a good attitude. Let's try again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my kid. That's the kid that was on my back. He loves quadcopters. Mustang Pilot. Thank you for a $5 super chat. I may have damaged my DJI goggle version by over-tightening an antenna. Is there an easy DIY fix? Mustang Pilot, honestly, if you damage your DJI goggle, my recommendation is that you let DJI handle it. Now, they may, if they want to charge you $70 or something because they don't think it's a warranty repair, then you might think about it. But you can open the goggle up and fix, it's just a UFL pigtail. So you could install a new pigtail, but it's such a hassle to open the goggles up and get at the pigtail. So, Mustang Pilot, I would at least try to get DJI to warranty it and see what they say. But you can absolutely repair that by putting a new UFL pigtail on there. So if you need to fix it yourself, you can do it. Yes, yes. Yes. Oh, Lexi is in the Discord. Lexi's birthday is tomorrow. Or today, if you're in Australia. Happy birthday, Lexi. Nick Sebring, your smart audio version is tied to your video transmitter. The video transmitter firmware expects or supports a certain smart audio version. Betaflight supports any smart audio version that exists. So, Nick, if your video transmitter supports Smart Audio 2.0, then you just load the Smart Audio 2.0 VTX table, and that's that. Bushy, thank you for a $10 super chat. Take my money. Oh, wait, not the right site. Oh, well, enjoy. Thanks for the teaser. Chase Huddleston, thank you for a $2 super chat. Best 1S or 2S Tiny Whoop? Chase, I'm so glad you asked that because we are about an hour into the stream, and that means it's time for our sponsor break. Now, you may know that I almost never do sponsorships, and that is true today. Yeah, there is no sponsor. Instead of a sponsor break, I'm going to tell you about my own website. Suckers! You didn't see that coming, did ya? This is my website, fpvknowitall.com, and it is home of the ultimate FPV shopping list, where you can find product recommendations in various categories, including the answer to Chase Huddleston's question, Tiny Whoops. Best 1S to 2S Tiny Whoop. And I got to thank Aaron Ciotti FPV, for helping me. And by helping me, I mean he basically did all the work. I got to thank him for helping me put this page together. Why is the Mope 7 first? Mope 7 shouldn't be first in this list. Mope 6 should be first. And also, why are there 2 listings for the Mope 7? This is the HD0 one. Okay, that's a little confusing. We need to change that title. That's confusing. That needs to be down at the bottom. Sorry, guys. This live stream is now... My sponsor spot has also been co-opted by me. Every time I show my website, I see little edits that need to be made. Okay. Whoops. Yep. No, that should be named HD0. Oh, it is. Oh, I'm a dumbass. I'm a dumbass. I am a dumbass. Okay, that's my bad. It does say HD0. Okay, still that. Okay, my bad. That's my bad. Ciotti! Oh my god, Ciotti, catch up! Catch up, Ciotti. Catch up. Look at my to-do list. Haha, it's my website. I can work as slowly as I need to. For everybody who asks, how often do you update this website? This is how often. Look at the done list. Look at the done column. How often do you update this website? That's how often we update this website. Wow. 404 link for Elmway Commander V1. March 26, 2019. That was when I see. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, that's how often we update the website. Give you some idea. Ooh, we've added the A-Line backpack. We got a page here, HD cameras and other accessories. I feel like that needs to be... So why is that in done if it hasn't been done? Why is that in done? Wait, do I need to shift F5? Where's the A-Line backpack? I don't see it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, that's my website. It's always up to date. Nothing is ever out of stock, and it's the best. So check it out. God dang it. God dang it. I mean, thank you for that. Thank you for pointing that out. What are you saying? Mob 7 shows the 1S ELRS version. Is the picture still not right? Okay, Sadie, that's your card. Okay, thank you for that feedback. Thank you for that feedback on the mistaken link. Bannister post. Let's go back. Okay, that's the sponsor spot. Go visit my website and use my affiliate links, and that'd be great. Bannister post asks, would you ever build or fly one of Straw Hat Ariel's frames? I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out. Let's look at it. Oh, see, it's Cinema Drone stuff. You have Le Pigeon. Le Pigeon is the one that carries the Blackmagic. So we've talked about this on the news. I am not hugely into cinema stuff. I gotta say, the bigger cinema gets, the more I feel kind of like a loser for just wanting to fly freestyle and have a good time. And I think to myself, wow, maybe I should get into cinema because that's where this is going. But for now, I'm not super into cinema stuff. So, you know, as good and cool as this stuff is, I just don't really have a huge use for it. Because all I want to do is do flippy flops. Le Pigeon frame is good for freestyle as well. Is it? It looks like it's $179 for the frame. I mean, that alone. Le Pigeon. Are we talking about Le Pigeon? I mean, for a cinema frame, that's a good price. For a freestyle frame, that's pretty gosh dang expensive. And I bet it's pretty heavy, too. Yeah, it's 250 grams just for the frame. I don't know how you call this a freestyle frame. Yeah. Oh, that's a 7-inch. I see. That's not a 5-inch. It's a 7-inch. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. Let's see here. So, yeah, I think about that sometimes. You know, I got into FPV, and I just wanted to fly around and do flippy flops. And I still am trying to get good at doing flippy flops. Oh, I should switch cameras. I'm still trying to get good at doing flippy flops. I feel like I have room to improve at flippy flops. Occasionally, I branch out and I try racing, although racing is not... I do enjoy racing when I do it, but racing's not really like where my heart is. I like flying around and doing flippy flops and doing tricks. What really inspires me is watching freestyle pilots do moves and being like, wow, how do they do that? And I wish I could do that. And then crying in the corner for 45 minutes about the fact that I can't do that and I'll never be able to do that and I'm not that good. That's what really gets me out of bed in the morning. And so, you know, now we have cinema stuff going on, and it's huge. It's huge. It's not just a niche thing anymore. It's huge. I mean, it's not as huge as just like the hobby market, but it's definitely not just like 12 professional pilots in the whole United States shooting a few commercials and some movies occasionally. It's like there's a lot of professional cinema pilots out there who, you know, who I've never even heard of. The market is there. And I'm like, well, on the one hand, I like to be useful and I like to be helpful. And, you know, that's an important part of being successful. And, you know, how do you make a living? You make a living by being useful to someone in some way, and then they give you money. I mean, that's a way that it works. There are other ways to get money out of people or to make a living. And I think about whether, you know, oh, should I be focusing more on the cinema stuff? And as my friends get into it, you know, guys like Siati get into it, I'm like, well, but, you know, I just like doing flippy flops. So for now, that's what I'm doing. That's the thing, Dr. Slaughter. Here's the thing. I was never into tiny whoops very much. I came in on 5 inches. Tiny whoops weren't even a thing. And at one point, I looked around and went, geez, these tiny whoops, I'm not that into them. But everybody's into them. I should give them a try. And I tried them out. Because at the end of the day, you spend 70 or 80 bucks, you buy a Cinewhoop, not a Cinewhoop, a tiny whoop, you fly it, right? But every time I think, man, maybe I should focus more on cinema stuff. Like, what am I going to do? Go spend $5,000 on a cinema camera? For what? For what am I going to fly a red Komodo? It's not like you can just go, yeah, okay, you know what? It's a business expense. I'm going to get into cinema stuff. That's over my F it line. You know, there's an F it line when you're just like, yeah, I'll just buy this thing. That's $5,000 for a Komodo is over my F it line. So I would need to go be a pro cinema pilot to justify buying the gear to make content about cinema. And I don't want to go be a pro cinema pilot. I do not want to go be a pro cinema pilot. I do not. Yeah. Anyway. There we go. Sunshine, thank you for a $10 super chat. Building a Xylo 6-inch Blue Hornet chase quad. I ordered 2604 motors, but I'm not married to them. They were out of the 1350 kV, so I got the 1650 kV. What are your thoughts on the motor size? Link to the motors in the patron chat. What? What? What are you guys doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing in the Discord? I don't even know what I'm looking at. Oh my God. What am I looking at? Why? Well, once again, the people listening to this on podcasts are completely missing out. I apologize. What? I'm going to guess this is my son, and this is me, and we're eating our Waffle House food at the Waffle House. Why? Why do we have headphones on? It's because I'm wearing headphones right now. And you copy-pasted the head. And he's a Jeep. And he's the... What? Oh, oh my God. Oh, okay. Oh, I love this so much. I don't know what it is, but I love it. Who made this? Who made this? Who is responsible? It's rat meat. Rat meat. Thank you. I love this so much. What is it? Oh. Okay. Moving on. The motors you got are the iFlight Zing 2604. So, remind me. Oh man. Wow. Chris Rosser, give me a ratio. What's the ratio?
Hi there, everybody.
Hi, Chris. How you doing, man? I think I remember the ratio, but I'm just going to make sure I get it right. I think it's between 4-to-1 and 6-to-1. Choosing the right size. Motor volume versus prop diameter. So, what prop? The 6-inch. For 6-inch props, we want to be around a 2408. Now this is a 2604. What's the motor? What's the volume? 2604 is 13 millimeters squared times 3.14 times 4. That gives us 2,100 cubic millimeters. 2408 is 12 squared times 3.14 times 6. What was the dimension? 2408 times 8. So this is the first thing. If we just start with Chris Rosser's recommendation as a place to start, and this doesn't mean that Chris knows everything there is to know about motors, although he might. He might not. But if we just start here, can I make this smaller? Why can't I make this one smaller but not that one? Why can't I make this one as small as that one? That doesn't make any sense. Why? Well, that doesn't make any damn sense. That's not right at all. Okay, fine. This motor is significantly small for a 6-inch prop. It is significantly undersized. And even if Chris Rosser is like not 1000% correct about everything, a 2604 is really small for a 6-inch prop, no matter how you slice it. The other thing is, I think the ratio of height to diameter is not going to be right. He gives a recommended ratio. Motor KV, picking the right KV, right throttle field and resolution. Where's the motor shape? There it is. Where's the recommendation? Somebody tell me the ratio. I think it was between 4 and 6 to 1. Maybe it was 3. I'm looking at the wrong video, apparently, because the recommendation for the sheriff, is it here? Choosing the best motor shape. There it is. There it is. 3 to 1, 4 to 1, but 6 to 1 is probably bad news. Okay, so 2604. Is that diameter? Diameter to height. So 26 to 4. 26 divided by 4 is 6.5. 6.5 to 1. So this is, it's too wide, and it's extremely small. It is too wide. It's going to have plenty of cooling. Yay! That's good because it's going to overheat because it's being significantly overpropped by the 5-inch prop. But even if you were running, I'm sorry, the 6-inch prop, but even if you were running 5-inch props, I would hesitate to run this motor. This is just a motor that doesn't make sense. What could a motor like this be good for? If you look at a Cinewhoop, Cinewhoops historically had tall motors, and the motors ran super hot. And people started shifting to wider motors like the 2004. And those motors have better cooling because they have better surface area. 2004, 20 divided by 4, 5. That's a 5 to 1 ratio of diameter to height. And that means you're getting good cooling. But somewhere around 6 to 1 and higher, you start getting problems with desinks and so forth. 2604, there simply isn't a reason for that motor. I wouldn't recommend it under just about any circumstance. I can't think of a circumstance where I would recommend this motor for anything because the ratio of diameter to height is so extreme. I don't know why they made this motor. I don't know what they thought this motor was going to be used for. Why would this motor have faster response? Prove it. Okay, so first of all, prove it. Prove it. Put it on a stand and show me that it has faster response. Otherwise, I just think this is marketing BS. No offense, iFlight. I like your motors. Why would it have faster response? It is a significantly larger diameter. Larger diameter will tend to be less responsive unless it has larger volume. But this has smaller volume. This is a case where somebody... I just feel like they didn't understand. Now, iFlight knows motors. So this isn't... But someone would make this motor if they didn't understand why a motor was the way it was. And they were just like trying to copy somebody else's specs. Or if they did understand how to make motors and they still thought this motor will sell. This motor makes no sense. Now for 5-inch props, hang on. For 5-inch props, where are we? Here we are. This is where I want to be. 2306 motor. 23 divided by 2 is 11.5 millimeter radius squared times 3.14 times 2306 times 6 millimeters. 2306 motor has a volume of just about 2,500 cubic millimeters. So that's roughly the baseline for a 5-inch prop. This motor's smaller even than that. But you could argue that for an ultralight, you could argue, well, we run 5-inch props on a 2305, you know, 2205. You could argue that the 2,200 cubic millimeter volume of this motor is acceptable for 5-inch props, but the shape is still no good. Okay, so that's what I would say. Now, Sunshine wants to know for a 6-inch prop. Ghost Branch, Sunshine did say 6-inch. And I said that motor is way undersized for 6-inch props, and it has a bad ratio. But I went on to say, even if it was a 5-inch prop, I still wouldn't like it. So Sunshine says, for 6-inch props, should I go 2307 or all the way up to a 2806? Sunshine, 2806 is overkill for a 6-inch. 2806 is perfect for a 7-inch. So if you're going to be super heavy or a high-pitched 6-inch or something like that, you could go to 2806, but it's probably overkill. Something like a 2208 or a 2407 is just about perfect. Or as Chris Rosser said, just remind myself the size he suggested. He suggested something like a 2408. So I think you could go up to a 2806. You could go down to a 2208. I think you're going to have a hard time finding a 2307. That's a pretty weird size. But I think the 2604 is just not big enough for a 6-inch prop. It's barely big enough for a 5-inch prop. So a 6-inch cinema rig, you're going to want more efficiency. You're going to be carrying a heavy camera. There's no way I would run this on a 6-inch cinema rig. Okay. Ken Heron in the house. Thank you for $10, Ken. Ken Heron. Did you see the video he did recently? Ken is damn near a journalist at this point. Ken, I gotta tell you, I was a little jealous when I saw this. Because I had thought about doing a video like this, and for one reason or another, it didn't work out. Ken, how consumer drones are changing the course of the war in Ukraine. What a great video this was. What a great video this was. I mean, the title speaks for itself, and you can go watch it. Here, I'll put a link in the chat for you. Just a really, really good... For somebody who is so often portrays himself as just kind of an entertaining goofball, and he is, to do a serious piece like this, and just, you know, there's some depth to this guy. I've always said that about him. Freaking legend. Legend. 176,000 subscribers. He's doing... Wait a minute. That's almost as many as I have. Never mind. Don't watch his channel. You can only succeed by holding down the people below you. Isn't that what I think Martin Luther King said that? Very good point. Aber the Ham, thank you for that reminder. Sunshine, Kebab's 25 millimeter motors are fantastic on 6-inch. Sunshine, consider buying a 25 millimeter motor from FPV Cycle. That's a great choice. Driftaholic, a moderator hid your comment, but I'm going to reply to it anyway. Driftaholic, I don't agree with this argument at all. Driftaholic's comment is, yeah, make sure the government knows how effective consumer drones are so we can be more effed. Here's the thing, Driftaholic. Here's the thing. Drones are, and I don't mean like military drones, like Predator drones and whatever they're flying now. I mean consumer hobby drones. The kind that we fly, the kind that DJI drones, this style of drone is extremely effective at that kind of thing. Let's just say being used in an offensive way. Trying to carefully avoid being demonetized here. This has always been true as long as drones have existed. You think about it. If we go back a long time in history, there was a time when firearms were extremely exotic and rare. Okay? They were useful in warfare, and they were so exotic and rare that nobody really knew about them. Like when gunpowder had been invented by the Chinese but hadn't really been discovered by Europe, or I don't know the history of it. The fact that people didn't know about it doesn't change the fact that it's useful in a certain way. But here's the thing. You're the one who doesn't know how useful they are. The Ukraine conflict has brought to the public's attention. And I've said, I think that 2022 is in some ways a watershed year for drones because two major things have happened. The conflict in Ukraine has made the public more aware than they ever have been about the potential military uses for consumer drones. Because there were people in Ukraine saying, please give us your consumer drones so that we can do warfare things with them. Whether that's scouting for artillery coordinates, whether that's just general scouting, whether that's literally dropping munitions. We've seen that stuff happening. And people are having different reactions to that. Oh, why is 2022 a watershed year? The other thing that happened was that the Ambulance movie came out. When Michael Bay released Ambulance and Vanover got all this attention. And so people are aware that drones can be used in motion pictures, and they're aware that drones can be used in warfare. And this is kind of a big deal. Drones, because before now, all they knew that drones could do was spy on you while you were sunbathing in your backyard, right? That's all that drones do, right? Now they know that they can also be used in war and to make Hollywood movies. But here's the thing. When people say, you guys, we can't talk about this, the government can't find out about this, they already know. They knew before you knew. They already know. Why do you think the FAA was crapping their pants about remote ID 2 years ago? Why do you think? Well, it's because Jeff Bezos wants us to take our freedom. Yeah, maybe. Actually, mostly, it's because DHS was shitting their pants about the exact stuff that you see happening now in the videos coming out of Ukraine. They already knew. They know. They're being... This idea that if we don't talk about the potential weaponized uses of drones, then the FAA won't figure out that they could. They have people whose whole job it is to figure out how to stop this stuff. They're aware. They're aware of it. They're more aware of it than the public is. And so bringing awareness to the fact that the drones are being, it's not that they can be used in this way, it's that they are being used in this way. That's not really, they already know. They already know. Now, the general public doesn't know. The general public doesn't know. And it's possible that there will be more of an outcry if people can say, oh, wait, I saw that stuff in the videos coming out of Ukraine. It's possible that public perception will shift. That's true. But the idea that the government doesn't know about these things, and if we don't talk about it, they won't find out, is complete nonsense. It's complete nonsense. They have already known way before you did. Because it's obvious. When people, here's the thing. When people in the public go, wow, they're using hobby drones in Ukraine? Well, who knew that? Who knew that is really eye-opening. You're just dumb. And me too. We're not, I mean, somebody out there is a professional warfighter, soldier, whatever, you want military, right? I'm just a Yahoo with a YouTube channel. And so you say, you know, they're using DJI drones over in Ukraine to call in artillery coordinates. And I'm like, really? Oh, I guess that makes sense. I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah, you know who did think of that? The guys calling in the artillery coordinates. It's not, they're like, yeah, obviously we're going to do that. We're the ones who are out of the loop. The professionals are in the loop. And us not talking about it won't take them out of the loop. They already know. It bugs me. It bugs me because people are like, shh. Ken Heron, you are really hurting the hobby by interviewing this guy. Why? Like, you can put your head in the sand all you want. It won't change what's happening. And it won't change that the people who need to know. So. Alrighty. I've had that on my, it's been a pet peeve of mine for a while. And this was just the opportunity to get it off my chest. So would remote ID stop that? No, it wouldn't. That's nonsense. The remote ID is completely ineffective at almost anything. So yeah, that as typical of the government, they correctly identify a threat and then do something completely ineffective to stop it. That somehow takes away our rights to enjoy our hobby at the same time. Oops, I'm not saying that they're unimpeachable. But anyway. All right. Yeah, JP, exactly. Ask yourself this. Don't think about this too long. But ask yourself, if I wanted to do something nefarious with a drone, how hard would it be? And then ask yourself, what if, like, that was just my job? There you go. And then be like, oh, okay. Anyway. Moving on. Driftaholic, thanks for a $2 super chat. Ken Heron. Jeez, you get me in trouble, Ken. You get me in trouble. Ken's video, this interview was very educational, entertaining, eye-opening, enlightening, whatever you want to call it. Well worth a watch. I recommend it. We got a question here from Ramus5, Ramus V. If my motors are hot because of PID tuning, which of the PID settings should I play with? You should have more filtering, move your filter sliders to the left, and or lower your D gain. Those are the two things that can make your motors hot. Doug McLeod, thank you for $5 What would you estimate your build repair time ratio is? I think if you're at like 3-to-1, 3 hours of repairing for every 1 hour of flying, you're doing pretty good. It depends on how much of your flying is standing around and how much of it is actually pack time. So there have been cases where I show up at a day of flying with 3 drones and fly all afternoon on and off. So you get like, what, 5 hours of flying. You know, maybe fly 20, 25 packs though. So actually only, 2 hours of flying. And then come home and have 3 hours of repair to do. So I don't know what the actual average is. We got a question here from Surf Shack, who says, I've had my Hexplorer since they first came out, and the whole time I've had it, it's done this thing where it slightly rolls or pitches, barely perceptible rates. Hang on, just checking my stats. The internet's been solid. I think they might have fixed it. No, I'm messing with you. It rolls or pitches at barely perceptible rates. I've checked that it isn't my controller, but just in case I put some deadband on it and it keeps doing it. Back when I ran it on my Tango 2, it would randomly roll or pitch depending on the day, but now on my X-Lite, it's always pitch. And I think it's something with a hexacopter because my other quads don't have that issue at all. What could be causing it? Surf Shack, this is a very, very tough one. And I think we would need video and black box to figure it out. It sounds like it's really subtle. And unfortunately, saying that you've got slight roller pitch on slight movement on the pitch axis, I'd really like to see it to really have a judgment of what might be causing it. So unfortunately, I'm not sure that I'm going to be much help right this minute. Do you have video of it, Surf Shack? I mean, I'm not saying the video would help, but excuse me, at the least I would like to see the video. The fact that it got rid of deadband, the fact that deadband didn't fix it, and that it doesn't happen on his other quads means it's not the gimbals, though. It's not the, excuse me, it's not the controller. It just feels like people who say don't talk about that just want to put their heads in the sand and enjoy their hobby. And I get that. But that's not going to save your hobby. That's the thing. There's a tendency when faced with a bad situation to go into a state of denial. You know, like you're hiking. You're hiking and all of a sudden there's a rumbling in the underbrush and suddenly a giant bear comes out of the underbrush and growls at you. And your first reaction is, oh shit, this can't be happening. I mean, maybe that's your first reaction. You're walking down a dark street and somebody grabs you and, says, give me your money, and maybe threatens you in some way. And your first reaction is disbelief. This can't be happening to me. And I see that when people are, I think that's also what's happening when people say, if we just don't talk about these other uses for hobby drones, then regulations, if we talk about them, then regulators will find out about them. It feels like it's that same kind of denialism. But you have to deal with the facts as they are. You have to deal with the facts as they are. Otherwise, you cannot succeed. And no matter how upsetting the facts are, unless you acknowledge them, you become aware of them, and you deal with them as they are, and then maybe you can do something to change them. You don't have to accept them. But you look at the situation that exists right now, and you go, this is the lay of the land. What am I going to do next? And the lay of the land right now is that the exact same hobby drones that you use to have a good time and freestyle and rip around your yard and race are being used, in this case, in Ukraine, but probably not. That's probably not the only place in the world this is going on. They're being used as tools of war in various ways. That's a fact. Now, you may not like it. You could try to change it, but you're also not going to succeed at that. Let's be real. And the people in the government, like Department of Homeland Security and FAA, They know about this. Because if you know about it, they know about it. So then, now you're like, well, oh shit, they're going to regulate my hobby out of existence. Well, what are you going to do about it? You got to start from that position, though. And if you, yeah, you got to start from that position. And then do what you're going to do. Whatever that is. Yeah. Mike Bergman wonders if he's got the X-Light's gyro turned on, and maybe the movement of the X-Light is causing that. It's possible. Terminal Insanity wants to know, how hot is too hot for motors? If you pinch the motor and it's physically painful and you're like, you can't pinch it, that's too hot. If you pinch it and it's uncomfortable but not painful, I would say that's fine. Rui Pedro wants to know, just saw your June products video. Honestly, and in your humble opinion, how true do you think it is that the hobby is declining? That's tough to say, Rui Pedro. The increasing price of things. I can say that everyone I know who has a store says that sales are down compared to 2 years ago. However, speaking for my affiliate, so I don't have sales data, and I don't want to sort of reveal more information than would be appropriate. But I can talk about my own affiliate sales, which sort of probably tracks sales in the hobby in general. My affiliate sales in spring, April of 2020, were higher than almost they ever had been. Not quite, but almost. That was a peak. Everybody had a $1,200 check in their pocket and was off work for 3 weeks. So they all bought FPV gear, and I got some emails spiked. My emails tripled, and my affiliate revenue went way up. So I can tell you that it's down. It's down from 2 years ago. I don't know if it's at a historical low in like the last 5 or 6 years. It's hard to say. But is it declining, or is it, an ebb and flow? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. Evan Wynn, thanks for a $2 super chat. Have you made homemade pizza on the grill? I don't trust grill pizza, Evan Wynn. Pizza needs even heat from the top and the bottom in order to cook correctly, and a grill is all about the bottom heat. I don't trust grill pizza. D Spinach says maybe less people are building because parts are getting better. No, that's not true. That is not true. That's not true. Guarantee. Mason Paxton, you cannot convert a non-access FreeSky radio to support access. Your X-Lite will never support access unless you swap a radio module in, which is possible to do, but not officially supported. I think that the price of components is probably driving some people out. Components have gone up by a factor of 2x easily. Not motors. Motors are still about the same price that they were. But ESCs and flight controllers have gone up by 2x. Frank Nicholas says grill heat is okay for pizza if you use a pizza stone. I mean, if you gave me a pizza you cooked on a grill, I'd probably enjoy it. But yeah, I think you really I would want more top heat. You could close the grill. I guess you could close the grill. I'm not sure how much top heat you would get if you closed the grill. I think you need a really thin crust to properly cook pizza on the grill so that the majority of heat coming from the bottom still cooks it correctly. When will prices go down? Asks Torpedo Law. Yeah, when do they ever go down? Do they ever go down? I don't know. Yeah. You have to close the grill. Sure, but, Even after you close the grill, I don't know. How even is the heat? I don't know. There's still a lot more heat from the bottom. Like if you heated up the stone and then put the grill on low so that the stone quickly heats the bottom crust and then it finishes with the circulating air. I don't know. I just don't think a grill. Crash Bandicoot says my grill gets to 600 Fahrenheit with the grill closed. I just don't think the grill is the right tool for cooking a pizza. Look at every professional pizza oven. It's got burners on the top. It's got burners or air on the top and the bottom. Look at a professional pizza oven, like a stone oven. It's got the ceramic top all over, and it heats. A pizza is optimally cooked with direct heat on the bottom and then strong convection heat on the top and sides. That's my so a grill is I believe that you can get good pizza out of a grill, but a grill is fundamentally the wrong tool for cooking a pizza. In my humble opinion. Mouse FPV argues that it's better than heating your house up in the summer. And here's the thing. If you have a crappy oven, if your oven is really bad and can't get to 400, it stops at 400 degrees, you may get a better pizza out of your grill than out of your oven. But doesn't make a grill doesn't make it the right. Ooh, Evan Wynn says center burner on low, side burners on high. Problem solved. Interesting. Amin Ra says that gas ovens don't have top heat burners. I found that radiant heat works. Yeah, so Amin Ra, when you cook in an oven, a regular oven, it's also bottom heat, unless you have a convection oven. And I struggle with that. My home oven, I struggle with getting enough top heat into the pizza to evenly cook it. So. What did I do before FPV? Asks Swift69. I did Wi-Fi installs and troubleshooting. I was a RF engineer. Not technically an RF engineer, but my boss gave me the title of RF engineer, and I said, you know, capital E engineer, like a certified engineer, is actually a thing. And he was like, yeah, well, you're a small E engineer. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I guess you define my title, my job title. I always felt a little uncomfortable calling myself an RF engineer because that's actually a thing and I wasn't it. But I did engineering, let's say. Rui Pedro, got you. Oh, we're caught up. Good. C. Victoria, thank you for a $5 super chat. Is DJI FPV a good intro to FPV? I want to get into freestyle, but building drones seems hard, and return to home on the DJI seems mighty attractive. Okay, so C. Victoria, let me start with the good stuff. I know more than one person who flies the DJI FPV and enjoys it. So you can have a good time with the DJI FPV drone, and it has a lot of capabilities, you know, like return to home and so forth. But it's not a good freestyle drone. You can fly it in manual mode. It is heavy. It's underpowered. It handles badly. And most importantly, if you screw up and crash it, it crashes really badly. And then when it breaks, you basically have to send it back to DJI for repair. I know you can buy spare parts, and depending on exactly what broke, you could repair it yourself. But a lot of the things that are going to go wrong are going to necessitate sending it back for repair. So what ends up happening is you buy the DJI FPV drone, you better buy the DJI Care insurance. And then shortly after you go, you know what, I'm going to try this freestyle thing out. Boom, you explode it into the ground, and now you send it back. And I just think that if what you want to do is get into FPV, then it's not the best place to do it. Building drones is hard. I would suggest that you look at the Rotor Riot solderless build. It is a full-fledged FPV drone that you do not need to solder to build. And it is also has its trade-offs. But if you don't have to where's the whole drone? There we go. So you don't have to configure it. You don't have to hook it up to a computer. You literally just plug in the parts and go. And if you decide you want to learn to repair it, you can. But you know, if you blow up the flight controller, you just buy a new flight controller, you put it in, plug it in, away you go. And this is a legit FPV drone. Whereas the DJI FPV drone, yeah. So if you're scared of building, scared of soldering, but you want to get into freestyle, this is the direction I would steer you. And there are people who look at it and go, well, it's too heavy. Or, you know, there are people who will criticize it as well. And there are valid criticisms to be made. But fundamentally, I think this is a better choice if you want to get into freestyle and you don't want to build, you don't want to solder. Because fundamentally, you can put this together. Where's the Ladrib solder-free? HDSF solder-free kit. Why does this only have the Moxie frame? Oh, well. Anyway. They really got it. These frames are so... gotta do better. Make your frames look better. Needs more cutouts. I don't know. It's okay. Nope, wrong camera there. Sorry about that. Alrighty, folks. Oh, the frame option. There we go. You can pick the frame. Thank you. So here you can pick which frame you want. The HD1 Vanny Style, the Skyliner, the HD1, or the Moxie. Gotcha. Yes. Yeah. So the DJI FPV drone is good. It is an accomplishment. It is fun to fly, but if you're serious about freestyle, you'll pick something else because it just doesn't crash well, and it doesn't handle that well. I mean, it handles surprisingly good for what it is. DJI is extremely good at engineering. Crash Bandicoot. The best Vista setup is the Nebula Pro camera or the original DJI camera, if you can find it. Floppy props. The Walk Snail avatar has nothing to do with the DJI Avata. Those names are a coincidence. All right, folks, we're about 5 minutes from the end of the stream. Aaron Ciotti is going to be streaming after me. Ciotti's going to start posting that link to his stream. Drone Droid says, doesn't fly well, doesn't crash well, but it's really good. The thing is, Drone Droid, it doesn't fly well compared to a freestyle, a true freestyle quad. But, you know, my car doesn't drive well compared to an F1 car. I wouldn't want to take an F1 car to the grocery store. So the DJI FPV drone is an engineering accomplishment. It is extremely impressive what they managed to do. At the same time, if what you want is a freestyle drone, I don't think it's a good choice. It's the best choice. Yeah. It's really impressive that they took that it fly for as heavy as it is. It's really impressive that it flies as good as it does. And all of the other technology in it is extremely impressive. Charles Garati, thank you for a 14 Canadian dollars super chat. And Gustavo Sanzerla, thank you for 50 Brazilian reais. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate you guys. Recommendations on a digital Cinewhoop for filming. GepRC Cinelog. Indoor, GepRC Cinelog 3.0 or maybe 3.5. Thank you, CB Runner, for a $5 super chat, thanking me for the government drones rant. Are the DJI V2 goggles as good as the V1? Me Drone says yes. They're essentially identical. Crash Bandicoot asks, "Who's your favorite driver in Formula One?" I wouldn't say I'm into Formula One. I mean, I enjoy watching automobile racing occasionally, but I wouldn't say I'm into it to the point where I would pick a favorite driver. Alrighty, folks, we are 3 minutes out from the end of the stream. We're going to start wrapping up. Thank you guys for coming out. I've enjoyed streaming with you. I hope you've enjoyed sticking around with me throughout the stream. Favorite driver in general, there is a right answer here. Ayrton Senna. Right? Is he the Brazilian guy? I only know Senna. I saw that documentary, Senna, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's a freaking madman. So I only know about Senna because, first of all, because he's Brazilian. And Brazil's awesome. And second of all, because I saw a documentary about him on Netflix once, and I do enjoy F1 and I do enjoy automobile racing as a spectator. And so I watched this documentary about Senna and was like, holy shit, this guy's insane. So I guess I would pick him, but there's a lot of other good ones. Yeah. Ken Block. Ken Block is something. I mean, there's a lot of good drivers out there. Vin Diesel is clearly the best. I've seen all his documentaries. Oh, man. Alrighty, folks, we're going to wrap up. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Siati, have a great stream, and I'll see you guys throughout the week when who knows what product might release this week. Well, take care, everybody. Have a great night.